Okay, are we ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
And one, two, three. Wow.
You gotta
And
remember
just
these outfits.
yeah, just the suspense in this song, though. I mean, just
Mm.
how the song starts, it's already so clever.
Shin
Oh,
Sedong Tiger on the production. One of
yeah,
his masterpieces.
it's an amazing song.
Look at her playing to the crowd. This is what I
Um,
really want to see out of fan cams, though, is like when you see the girls like playing to the crowd, like in the Brave Girls one, and like here with Hanny's like waving to people, and like that's so much more valuable to me than just like, oh, this person looks good.
yeah, and then making like eye contact with the audience and stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, she's obviously gorgeous. I mean, that's not a question. It's almost like it's so hard to perform flawlessly and always be in sync and never get distracted by anything, especially in live performances. I mean, it takes wow, this
Oh, okay, Solji just smashing it on the vocals.
it cuts through so much.
The move that got banned.
Yeah. I mean, her facial expressions are perfect. Like all the time, that's the thing. And changes so much as well.
Even with fire being blown in her face every couple of minutes.
Yeah, but I'd be freaking out for him. Like,
Yeah. I'd be so uncomfortable.
I mean, I recently watched a web drama of hers, and yeah, she's a very talented actress. That's the thing. It's almost like you can already see it in the performance that she knows how to play with the crowd. It's very versatile. The whole thing is.
For sure.
Oh, this is such a cool move.
It's a very iconic choreography for sure.
Dance. Ooh.
Yeah, the wave, love it.
And those high heels, by the way.
Must be absolutely exhausting trying to move around in those.
Yeah. Woo! Jesus, these vocals though.
Yeah, Solji's going off.
Isn't it interesting, how you have these girl groups and then they are amazing together, but they also work in solo. I mean, it's just, they're so strong. Oh, she's so charming.
She is.
Oh. Wow.
Yeah, just like the guy said. Me.
Aren't we thinking the same, in all honesty?
Literally
Everybody
me.
who's watching like, it's the same. Like, that's the thing. It's just, she's so charming. So lovely. It's very hard not to fall in love with Hani, especially based on this video. So no wonder that people went crazy when they saw this video. I mean, it's obviously super attractive, but at the same time, I mean, it's just, yeah, I don't know. These are one of those inexplainable things, right? When you have that attraction and you feel attraction towards somebody, whether you like them as a friend or you feel that connection. It's just like there are people who are talented enough to create that connection with the audience, and not everybody is capable of that, but she definitely is. Huge.
I just find it funny that like her being sexy was what made her like super famous, whereas like to me the thing that I love about Hani is that she's just kind of a dork and like really fun and like cute. Like in the shows, like when she was like co-hosting Weekly Idol with Heechul, like she was like literally what all the fans were thinking basically. Like she'd be like someone would be doing a dance that was really awesome and she'd be reacting like super like kind of candidly. Like she just seemed so genuine compared to a lot of people in Korean entertainment.
Yeah, absolutely. And what I also liked about her being the host, that she was never afraid to not to look ugly, but to look unpleasant. Like if you have an image like that, some people would be tempted to hold that up. Like, okay, I'm always going to look pretty. I'm always going to,
only film me from this side.
yeah. But she wasn't. She was being herself. And I think the Ibdoc moment for me for Hani was when she was on King of Masked Singer.
When she did JYP's Honey?
Yeah.
Or was that something? Yeah.
I think because I really like her voice. That was the thing. That for me is like, okay, I know of the song and I heard about like, okay, this is what made it big. But like when I personally became, I don't know, just attached to her persona, and I was really started rooting for her when she was singing there, I think that was the moment for me. So I think it just shows that these people are talented in so many different aspects. And now she's acting. Yeah, I've seen her in a web drama, and she's coming out with other stuff. Yeah, that was an interesting drama. Luckily it ended up well, and she wasn't suffering. I mean, her role was okay. But anyway, that's a different topic. So we have another example of a song going viral. And now we have to try our best to break it down why that happened. One thing we already realized, which is obviously this specific fan cam, that definitely helped, and the music video we already talked about that, like how interesting it was, and then the song. I think this is something that we haven't talked about that much, because the song with this, I think my favorite part with this, the da 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 da. I mean, it's almost hard to. Probably some classical musicians or some amazing people would be able to exactly say what note those are. But it's like a chromatic scale, and it's slightly distorted, and it's just so memorable. I think the entire song is amazing. And, no matter how attractive somebody is or how amazing they perform on stage, if you have a song that is mediocre, it's not going to work.
I would argue with that these days, but I think a lot of songs that are not very good are getting very popular. but that's just me.
We like arguments on this channel, so tell me why you think that.
Because fans care a lot more about image than music these days. It's more about the attitude and how people look than it is about what they're actually singing.
Yeah. Okay. And could you give me an example why you think that? Like where did you see that?
Well, it's kind of less about talent, I feel, in a lot of the releases now than it is about, well, I mean, the way I define talent is how kind of multifaceted you are, whether you can sing and dance and do variety and that sort of thing. Like, it feels like people just want people to be able to dance well and look good, because most performances are lip sync now anyway, and it's kind of, as long as you can dance really well and give good glances at the camera, it doesn't matter what the song sounds like, and it doesn't matter if you can sing really well or not. Whereas back then, you've got Solji absolutely slamming out those high notes, and you've got crowd interaction. You've got Hani becoming like a variety queen. Like, there is blatant talent here, whereas I feel like I don't see that a lot in some of the newer songs and performances and whatnot.
Yeah, I think that's an interesting point. I think there was one show where I definitely felt that started to become an issue, and it ended up in a huge controversy. This wasn't the reason for the controversy, however, but it ended up in a huge controversy. The show did, but in the beginning there were a lot of conversation around it. That when Produce X 101 was going on, there were a lot of issues in terms of the early voting that people started to talk about, and this definitely shows, like, how differently fans can think all around the globe. That the visuals were getting a lot of attention, and obviously the whole show is about development and, like, how can you become that idol then debuts or whatever, and how ready you are. So obviously it's in the process, so nobody can be perfect from the start, and it's not the goal. But it was an issue that the visuals were just coming out, and no matter how lovely they were, sometimes they were not talented enough or not ready, just like simply not ready. And that's the other interesting thing, that we can have older K-pop groups that we can talk about who are legends now, and they debuted very young. Like, if you look at Shiny and stuff, like, Taemin, like he was in middle school.
Yeah.
So obviously there are examples like that, but generally I would say it's kind of interesting to see how early people debut. And it's almost like it's not necessary that the people are not talented enough, but they just either haven't practiced enough, or they are not not necessarily ready, or they need some time to develop, but you see them at a very early stage of their career when they have less things to offer, almost, and it's also, there is obviously a style or a trend that these days that we see, that the visuals matter so much, not for everybody, but in terms of how the merchandise works and how fashion became so closely intertwined with K-pop. And obviously it was always the part of it, because it's like a box that contains music and variety and fashion and dance and style and and all sorts of things in one. That's why it's so interesting. It's a complex product. But at the same time, it's almost like there could be some imbalance these days when it just highly visualized. There's just very much a lot of focus on visuals and not necessarily that much focus on just sheer talent, if that makes sense. Remember when we talked about Boa?
Yeah, exactly.
Like when she was so young, but at the same time, that sheer talent just was so apparent that like you couldn't deny it, even when she was 13 or 14, that this girl is unbelievable. So yeah, I find it tricky. And it's almost like if you have a big group, you could hide those things as well. If you have like, I don't know how many, 13 members in a group, or like, I don't know, 9, then you could have few people who are like stronger in certain areas, and that's the beauty of groups.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't agree super hard with this, but yeah, I would say somewhere in the middle. Yeah, because I do see that trend myself, and I'm not sure how to feel about it. Because it's very different to be, I think, it's very different to be attractive and charming. So it doesn't necessarily have to be traditionally attractive or traditionally beautiful to be incredibly charming.
I agree.
And I would say, and I would love to almost put idols into variety first, or try their best in variety first, because that allows them, or gives them space to show their personality and not just their face and their talent. Because so it's like, yeah, that's why a good weekly idol show is an amazing opportunity, or like good idol shows are great opportunities, and especially during like Hani's time. This is 2014, right? The weekly idols were massive. Like these shows were big, and everybody watched them. I mean, you used to watch them, right? And I used to
watch it religiously.
Yeah, and absolutely. And I'm kind of missing yet another like idol show when these opportunities are given, so people can show their talent.
Yeah, I still kind of wish that Hani and Heechul were still the hosts of Weekly Idol. They were so good as hosts.
Yeah, I agree with you. I do like Kwanki, I have to tell you. And I like Kwanki. He's great in anything. I just like him as a person. And then there you go. Like he's an idol. He wasn't necessarily considered the most beautiful, but he became a huge star in his own right for different reasons. And I think that variety of people and the diversity is what I like in the idol world. So I would like to see it more. Okay. Oh, by the way, like just randomly, and the next video started playing about Hani. So before I get distracted by her yet again, we're going to go to the next video, which is going to be a bit of a travel back in time, because we're going to watch something from the 90s that has been an interesting hit in the past few years, a song called Rebecca, which I really wanted to watch. So we're going to talk about that one.
Yeah, please be kind to us, copyright gremlins. If this video doesn't make it up for Rebecca, you know why. It's copyright, but we'll see. We're hoping for the best.
We're hoping for the best. We're going to figure out something, but yeah, if the video doesn't go up, then make sure to watch Rebecca, and learn about the story, because it's an interesting one. So we're going to go to that next song and try to figure out why that song went viral. So see you guys in the next video, and thank you so much for watching. Bye.